Alrighty, folks. I hope everyone can hear me all right. I hope the music is not too loud and all of you folks are ready to go this morning. Hello and welcome Adobe Live. Hello YouTube. Welcome everybody to a Photoshop illustration challenge. I'm pretty pumped about this one. This is going to be cool. It's going to be kind of a exploration of our neural filters and how you can take shapes and graphic elements and kind of transform them into something that looks as if you painted it or illustrated it from scratch. And I'm pretty excited. Welcome in Matt in the live chat, General Kenobi, hello there, Desiree, Sean, Laura, Bliss, it's good to see all of you folks. But we're just going to dive right into it. If you scroll down to the description below the video player, you will be able to download the starter files and join the community, get all the information you need to join me today for this challenge. And this is what that starter file looks like. Let me pop over here. It says Photoshop Illustration Challenge. Illustrate without drawing or painting. Use neural filters to alter these graphic elements into shapes that resemble paintings. And style transfer and landscape mixer work best, in my opinion. So we're going to dive into those. However, if you are working alongside me today, or if you are watching the replay and you're diving into it at another time, you can check out whichever of the neural filters you think would be cool for this sort of thing. But I'm just going to dive into how this all works. So in the starter file, you will notice that you have a let me actually scroll this up real quick so everyone can see my my layers a little bit better. You'll see that you have a shapes group that has a triangle, polygon, and circle in it, and kind of in keeping with things that we've done in other challenges, I am on my move tool right now, which you can access if you just press V on your keyboard, and we can arrange these and move them around however we see fit. Also, one quick point that I wanted to mention. Yesterday somebody asked me if you could change the measurement units of the grids system and the move snapping grid. And you can. If you go to edit and go to preferences, you can actually go to units and rulers, and that will allow you to change the rulers here to pixels, inches, centimeters, and any of these other settings that you wish. So there's that, and you may want to do that for our challenge today if you're going to be using the move tool to rearrange things. But what we're going to do is, first off, I'm going to hide my info here, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, and I'm going to hit the F key to bring myself into this second kind of mode of Photoshop here, just so that when I press the space bar and I move my canvas around, I can move it freeform here within the UI, which is just how I personally like to work. So I'm going to kind of arrange these shapes a tiny bit separated from each other, just because I want to be able to see a little bit more. I might even Control T or Command T to transform this circle, just so I have some more of this dark color around the edge of our polygon here, like so. And we're gonna open neural filters. So let's grab up here, if we go to filter, neural filters, it's going to open this side panel for us here, and there's a lot of really amazing options that we can actually go into. Skin smoothing, super zoom, JPEG artifact removal, colorized style transfer. We're going to be messing with style transfer today, and we're also going to be messing with landscape mixer, as I said, but you can also jump into color transfer if you want, harmonization if you like, whatever you think works best for this. But we're going to go ahead and toggle on style transfer. If you jump in here and you've never used the neural filters before, or you've just never used this particular one, you'll see this little cloud download icon here on the right hand side of each little categorization of neural filters we have here. You just need to download that. Before you use any of the neural filters, you do have to download them. But here in Style Transfer, as I already have it downloaded, I can actually let's just go ahead and click one here. And we're going to transfer basically this style onto this shape, which is cool. And we can actually change the strength of it. We can change the style opacity. What I might want to do actually is preserve the color that I have used in my my work already, because I do like the colors that I've chosen, so I want to keep it kind of there on with the colors I've used. We can maybe crank strength up just a little bit. It does take a little bit of time to think, and this thinking time can vary from computer to computer. So if yours takes a little bit longer, or if yours is quicker than mine, that is okay. I might turn the style opacity down just a tiny bit so that it's not as strong. And this is actually kind of a cool effect. And so I think that I am going to, let's see, shall I hit OK? Let me go ahead, actually. I think I'm going to duplicate my triangle. Before I do this, I'm going to duplicate my shapes and hide that just so that I have another version of my shape. So let's go back in to neural filters. Make sure I have something selected. In fact, you know what I can do is I can hide the triangle and circle, and we can just focus on this polygon for now so that we can see what we've got going on here. I think that would help us better visualize what we're doing. So let's pull this back up. So we tried this, let me toggle that on. We tried this painting here. I kind of want to try this painting over here because this one is a little more detailed. So let's turn that one on. That's cool. So this like really looks like painting on a canvas, which I think is super neat. We can crank the strength of that up. Let's do that and make it look more like paint daubs, you know, so that we have that good painted texture in there, which is really neat. I do want to preserve the color, like so, because I like my greens. I have a definite color palette going on with this, and we can kind of alter the detail. I'm just going to run through some of these sliders so you folks can see what this is capable of doing. Maybe turn the style opacity down a little bit so it's a little closer to my original design that I have here. And I might actually like the detail cranked up just a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks good. And we'll place OK for this. So we have this interesting little polygon if we hide our other, and this looks like I've got this shape that has these nice painted details in here. You can see like kind of brush strokes mimicked here. It almost looks like swamp water or something. Honestly, use your imagination. It can be swamp water for you. It could be a grassy knoll to some, whatever it is that you think works best for your project. And I'm going to go ahead and do something like this to all of my new shapes. So I'm going to throw that up here, and we're going to hit Control or Command G just to group that in its own group. And I'm going to call these altered, in caps actually, altered shapes. And then we will, let's duplicate our triangle with Control J or Command J if you're using a Mac, and I will unhide. We'll hide this one. And I am going to do the same thing here. We're gonna also kind of make this into a painted piece. So let's jump back into neural filters and let's do style transfer. We're gonna use this top right painting over here. We're going to make sure that this preserves the color that I was using because I do like my colors, as I said. We will crank the strength up because I want it to definitely look very much like it is comprised of brush strokes. General Kenobi says, pray she doesn't alter the shapes any further. Thank you for the Star Wars jokes. It makes my morning every morning. All right, I think we'll keep the detail up and maybe turn style opacity just down slightly. And maybe bring the strength like so, because I do want it to make sure it matches the other. All right, and we'll go ahead and press OK, and let's see what this looks like with our altered polygon. I think it works. Little painted pieces there. And now we're going to do the circle as well. So we'll do the circle and then we'll bring it back up into our group. So let's go filter. Maybe we should turn our circle on so we can see it, however. Go into filter, neural filters, And let's do a style transfer one last time. There it goes. Let's go ahead and preserve our color because we like our color. And we could even, I wonder if we crank up the brightness here, and then crank up the saturation, because those are our two sliders we haven't used yet. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll crank that saturation down just a tiny bit. Love it. And then we will bring the strength up, bring style opacity down just slightly. I guess I'm not really paying super close attention to the exact numbers here, so they are like all just slightly different, but honestly, I think that it's really up to you. If you want to be super precise with these sliders, you can be. I'm not too worried about it because I just really like all the variation that I'm getting, because then it's not uniform. Then it's not like I cut a little piece out of a painting and all of that. It kind of makes all of them look very unique. Especially this circle now looks like I had some dark paint within the circle, and then I kind of brushed over with some, it looks like kind of a like a frosted grass color, which is cool. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK there. So now we have, if I bump this up here, I'm going to go ahead and collapse these groups here. So I just have my altered shapes, and I'm going to zoom out, kind of center my canvas here a little bit, and I'm going to move these around, and I'm going to find kind of a cool space to put them in. Boom. Okay. And I think what I would like to do is arrange these, because we're taking these shapes, these textured shapes, we're using the neurofilters to make them appear as if I've painted these shapes or painted within these shapes, but what can we actually do with this, okay? So far we have got our square, our polygon, everything is looking really interesting, much more unique than they were looking when they were just flat. And I am going to actually take these and I'm going to resize some of them, and I'm going to arrange them like I would if I was using them as decoration for example, I'm thinking maybe a promotional post for an art gallery or an art show or something. We can use that as kind of our fictional use case here. So I'll kind of put this in the corner, which I think is neat. I will throw this one over here, and we'll put this one in the corner. I think I'm actually going to, with Control or Command T, also resize this little triangle and just throw him in the corner like so. This is the only time you are allowed to put baby in the corner. It's the only time. Please, Andrew's in the chat like, what? Altered Shapes is my new band name, says Andrew Hawkrattle. That is an excellent name. I think you should run with that. Okay, so we've got our shapes arranged, and I like that we have, with this, the neurofilters has kind of preserved this look of, you know, part of our shape is dark and part of our shape kind of fades into this lighter color, which is neat. And what I'm going to do with this now is we're going to use other neurofilters to kind of create a difference in color for the entirety of our piece here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to drag my altered shapes, my little band of shapes here, and I am going to hold shift and click background, and I'm going to Control G to group that together. So I have this is all in one place here, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call this full set, just because that makes sense to me. You can name your group whatever you want. We're going to call this full set. And I'm going to right click this and convert it to a smart object. And then we are going to use neural filters. We're going to use the landscape mixer, believe it or not, on this piece of graphic art. So let's go into filter, neural filters. And I'm going to move my canvas over here so we can really continue to keep our eye on the ball here. And we're going to scroll down into Landscape Mixer. We're going to toggle that on. Now, Landscape Mixer is one of my most favorites because it's like having a magic wand, basically. If you are using this with actual landscape photos or portrait photos, you can use a lot of these sliders here to make it look as if those photos were taken in different seasons and different atmospheres, which is really cool. But you don't always have to use them on photos. And if you are trying, like we were trying today, to take some flat shapes and make it look as if it is illustrated and changed or painted in some way, this is also a really cool thing that you can do on flat elements. So what we're going to do is we are going to experiment a little bit with, we could try and throw some of the presets in. We can just experiment with that if we want. So I'm going to select this canyon image and we're just going to see what it does. We're just going to check it out. General Kenobi in the chat says, will we have a purple free challenge today? There isn't a single challenge coming up from me soon that does not include the color purple. I'm sorry to say, but not sorry to say. So look at that. This is, I mean, I don't know that I would use this specifically for the project I'm going for, but how incredible is that? If we zoom into this interesting detail that we got, it's taken all of that painted texture, and I suppose you could have left it with just the style transfer that we had and just used those elements, you know? But if you zoom in here, it kind of gave us so much more, and we're using this image of a canyon, and if you zoom in, doesn't this look like almost like you're looking at mossy rocks through water, or a galaxy, or, you know, it's got this rock texture, it's got all of these interesting elements, but we were working with just gradients and flat shapes before, and now we have this, which I actually think is really cool. I do actually really like this, and I think that I might go ahead and save this one. I'm going to go ahead and press OK because I just think that that is actually really cool. So we are going to also, because we have transformed that into a smart object first, for those of you who maybe are not familiar with smart objects, smart object is, if you've ever heard anyone use the term working non-destructively. And what that means is I have changed this smart object totally and completely. As you can see, we've transformed this, but I have all of the things that I've basically done to this are going to be listed under here. So if I start changing the colors on this, if I start doing any more alterations, they will start to line up in a little list attached to this layer, and I can come in and hide it, and it'll go right back to what we had. And this makes it really cool because as I have multiple filters on here, for example, I'm going to add an adjustment to this just to show you a quick example. If I Control Shift U or Command Shift U, if you are on a Mac, hopefully I can, let me see, Control Shift U or Control U, excuse me. I can change the color of this if I want. That actually looks kind of neat. I didn't intend for it to actually look cool, but there we go. You can see it adds that hue and saturation, and I can actually hide them individually. So if I want to just turn off the hue and saturation that I did, I could do that if I wanted. My computer needs a teeny tiny bit of time to think real quick. But you can totally change things, and I'm going to take some advice from the chat screaming to save just in case here, so I have everything saved. But you can totally change and hide individual little filters and things, adjustment layers that you have added to a layer, or you can hide all of them at once so it goes completely back to its original state, once, like the state that it was when you transformed it into a smart object, which is really cool because then you can see like what was I working with before and what was all of this stuff doing, and do I actually need as many things as I added to it, and stuff like that. I heard human saturation, says Nikki Cousins. No, hue and saturation. Human saturation also could be a band name, and I feel like we're on to something. But if you guys go forth and make incredible design bands, I definitely want a credit at least on the back of the album, please. All right, so let me see how we're doing on time. We've got about 5 minutes left here. So we've got this one. I actually do really like this green, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. I'm just gonna hide it. And I am going to Control or Command J and duplicate our group one last time. I'll go ahead and convert this to Smart Object, and I'm gonna call this Full Set 2. Boom. And we're going to jump back into Neural Filters. Neural Filters. We are going to turn on Landscape Mixer one last time. Maybe we'll do this actually 2 more times, honestly. And instead of using a preset, unless you folks would really like to see a very particular preset, I am going to scroll down and we're going to work with these magical sliders here. So we have winter, autumn, summer, spring, night, and day. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a couple of these to use. For those of you who are joining me in the live chat today, if you would like to make any suggestions of any of these, day, night, sunset, spring, summer, autumn, or winter, if you'd like to put any suggestions into the chat, I will use whatever you also suggest. We'll do a couple of your ideas as well. But I'm going to go ahead and crank this up to winter, I think, because I feel like it's pretty different from what we've got here. We've got like a lot of spring colors going on, so I'm just going to crank up winter, and we're going to see what winter does. Let's do some experiments here. Now, if this was a photo, we would be kind of transforming our photo into like a snowier scene, a more classically winter scene, but we are not using a photo, so look at that. It almost looks like little windows as if you're looking down from space. Look at that. Look how cool that is. I'm going to zoom in here on some of this texture. We've got like this icy, cloudy kind of thing going on here, and I think it's really, really neat. So we're gonna say okay, we're gonna keep that one because that one is very cool. Go ahead and hide that, and I'm gonna duplicate this one more time. And we are going to convert to Smart Object, and I see a lot of people in chat asking for spring and sunset. Okay, autumn, night, summer. All right, let's jump back in. I'm also trying to make sure I keep track of time. We got about 3-4 minutes here. So let's scroll down and do, I believe I saw somebody put autumn. So let's go ahead and try autumn, shall we? Ooh, I actually want to make sure I crank down winter, and we will turn autumn up. That is so cool. Look at that. It honestly, I'm getting a lot of galaxy vibes, and it's got the, we have this subtle texture in the background, so we kind of have this hazy look in the back here. I would love to see some of you experiment with this and try creating some planets with just some simple elliptical shapes. Make some planets, maybe use a large brush. You know what? Hold on. I was going to explain it to you, but I've just had an idea on the fly, and I think we're going to have to do that. So let me go ahead. Let's remove the altered shapes. In the last couple of minutes that we have here, let's do something crazy, shall we? Let's grab our ellipse tool. And you folks tell me which slider from Neural Filters you want me to use on this planet. Let's do that. We're gonna put a little ellipse here, and I am going to actually use my stylus here so that I can do this quickly because I'm comfortable with a stylus. Yep, we've got 4 minutes, so I'm going to change this to this green color, and I am going to rasterize this just to turn it into a flat shape. It's no longer a shape object. And I am going to lock the transparency, and I'm going to, with my brush, B on my keyboard, make sure caps lock is not on. I am going to grab some other colors, and I'm just going to make this look like a 3D item right quick, okay? We're gonna put some dark around here, we're gonna put some dark around here, and I'm just gonna really quick make this look like it's in a 3D space. We're just gonna paint like a sphere here. Boom, there's a sphere. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, and we are going to transform this to a smart object. We are going to go to filter, and neuro filters. How are we doing on time? We got to do this right now. Landscape mixer, and we are going to turn this to, I see somebody saying night. Let's change this to night. Let's crank night up and make a planet real quick. And after this is done, that is all the time that I have for today, and I will have to take off. Thank you all so much for joining me. This has been so fun. Ooh, night's a little too dark. We'll crank it to winter again. Someone suggested winter. That is all the time I have for today. I cannot wait to see what you folks do. Please scroll down to the description below and check out how you can join the community, where you can get your starter files. Post your work in the Discord because I would love to see it. I will definitely give you folks some feedback for today, but I do have to take off. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Adios, everyone.